Everyone. Welcome to this week's webinar. We've got a nice Caribbean webinar for you this week. Apologies for a little bit of a late start. We just had some technical difficulties, but we're all good now. And I'm joined by the lovely Nadine from Sonesta. So I'm very excited to share the two resorts that she's going to be talking about today in St Maarten. A nice island that we have as part of the portfolio that some of you may not be as aware of. So I'm really excited that we're going to get to shed some light on it for you all today. As usual, please if you have any questions, just type them in the Q&A box as we go along, and then we'll have some time to answer them at the end. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us, and I'll pass you over to Nadine.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this training session. I represent the Sonesta in St Maarten, and that is basically two hotels for the price of one. What you see in this image actually is on the left you have Sonesta Ocean Point, and on the right, the higher building behind on the right is Sonesta Maho Beach. The one in front actually isn't part of Sonesta, just to clarify. And this lovely beach is the famous beach that some of you may have seen videos of from back in the day when they used to fly 747s into St Maarten and they would land over a beach. This is that beach, so it is a pretty famous location. But the hotel isn't as well known, so we're going to take a closer look at the Sonesta property. So first of all, just in case some of you aren't familiar with the location of St Maarten, here we have the map of the Caribbean, and it is literally this little tiny island that the arrow is pointing at, and it's the lower of those two smaller islands. The one above it is Anguilla, and then just down to the sort of right-hand side is St Bart's. So it really is a very, very small island, but one that packs a big punch in terms of what it offers. How do you get there? Well, there are daily flights with Air France from Paris, Charles de Gaulle, and there are lots of flights with KLM, particularly in the winter, where we have 5 flights per week with KLM. And for those of you who are attending in the UK, that actually represents both of these give you some really interesting regional connections, especially KLM. So you can leave Edinburgh at 6 o'clock in the morning and be in St Maarten by 12:30 and at the hotel in time for a late lunch. Out of Edinburgh, out of Glasgow, out of Birmingham, out of Norwich, I believe. So there's lots of ways to get to St Maarten from the UK without too much difficulty. And of course, from Germany and from France and from the Netherlands, Belgium, it's very, very easy to connect with these two airlines. There are also lots of really interesting combinations that you can do with the USA as well. They have regular flights. The flights are coming in all morning, basically, all day, into St Maarten from New York and Miami and Atlanta, Philadelphia, Orlando, Chicago, Washington. So there's so many ways that you can either combine with the USA or fly straight through. So this is the island of St Maarten. It is only about 6 miles or 9 kilometers by 6 miles or 9 kilometers. So it really is quite a tiny island. And in fact, it is the smallest island in the world to be owned by 2 countries. And so you can see the grey line crossing through the middle of the island. To the north of that line, that is actually France. Whereas to the south of that line is it's the Dutch island of Sint Maarten. It's not actually in the Netherlands. It's a slightly different political structure, whereas the French side actually is in France. So they have very different systems. They have a different fire service, a different police force, all the utilities separate, but you can just walk. You don't even know that the border is there. You can't see it unless you look ever so carefully at the telegraph wires, which break for a few centimeters in between, and then you're across the border and into, into France or into the Netherlands. So it's a really interesting island, and you can get across through that lagoon to the left-hand side. There's a break in that piece of land, so you can take ferries across to Anguilla really easily, for example. So it is very, very interesting island. It's quite mountainous in the middle. So there's lots to do, and this gives you an idea. They have a chairlift, and they have the steepest zip line in the world. So that gives you a view which slightly makes my stomach leap. I don't know about you, but that picture of the zip line does make my stomach jump. And so there's fantastic hiking, there's bird watching. And then from St Maarten, you can get, as I said earlier, very easily to Anguilla, which is obviously a UK-dependent island. And so that kind of tickles me that you could sort of see the UK from France and the Netherlands all in one go. And you can fly to St Eustatius, or Statia as it's known locally, or to St Bart's. They're really close by, and there are little planes going in and out all day to those islands. So you can do boat trips across there, you can fly across there, and there's amazing diving over there, especially in St Bart's. So it really is a very interesting sort of hub of activity, a lot of cruise activity. Some of the cruise ships are actually based there throughout the season. So there's a lot of stuff going on St Maarten all the time. So this is a kind of an overview of Sonesta St Maarten from the back side of the hotel. And you can see the airport over there in the distance. So on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, we have the Sonesta Maho Beach, the tall white building, and then the Sonesta Ocean Point, the sort of lower rise, but it is up a hill actually and up onto the cliff top, which you can't really tell from this picture, but it is quite a high rise up to Ocean Point. And in this picture, of course, you can also see that there's a golf course right behind the hotel. So that makes it a really interesting hotel for the golfers, or at least people who do like some activity. And you can stroll behind the hotel up through Maho Village, past the golf course, and down onto Mullet Bay Beach, which is really beautiful if you want to get away from the hubbub and from being near that airport and that airport beach. You can go to Mullet Bay and hire one of these lounges, sit in the little beach bar that you can just see under the trees. And then up above you can see Simpson Bay, and that's quite a little hub. Jump in a taxi or even walk across the beach along the bottom of the runway and into Simpson Bay, and there's shops, bars and restaurants in Simpson Bay. So it really is a nice little centre. And there you have the Princess Juliana Airport. It's a 5 to 8 minute taxi ride max from the airport to the hotel. So like I was saying earlier about connecting through from regional airports, it's just astonishing how quickly you can be at Sonesta after that transatlantic flight. There you are. That gives you an idea of the view from the hotel. If you are a plane spotter like I am, you will sit with your flight radar and work out where all these flights are coming in from, which is but a bit geeky but quite funny. And and you can see the crowds that gather around to see the airplanes coming into land. And it is particularly exciting when Air France and KLM come in, because they're the biggest planes that go in, the A330s. So this is just an overview to show you that it is two hotels for the price of one, really, because they're separate but integrated, if that makes sense. So on the right, you have the building of the 420-room hotel of the Maho Beach. And then immediately in the middle of the picture, you've got Ocean Point. So guests at Ocean Point do actually pass right the way through Maho to get to the exclusive reception area in that white roofed building. But beyond that, everything that they have in Ocean Point is exclusive to them, whereas they can come out and enjoy the facilities of Maho as well. So it lends itself really nicely to multi-generational groups in particular, or larger groups for weddings, for example, where some people might like a 5-star adults only, all inclusive at Ocean Point, but then they can go and visit family and friends who might be staying in the more general all in 4-star or inclusive of Maho Beach. So a little bit more about Maho, about the 4-star family all-inclusive. So you can see it's got this fantastic Oasis pool, which has got music playing. It's got attractions for the kids, the slides. There is a kids club, which is available for children ages 3 to 12. And there's a teen zone as well for the 13 to 17-year-olds to get away from the little ones and get away from the older ones. So there's lots going on, and with they pretty much every day they'll have some live musicians performing by the pool. There's a swim up bar, so people are just grabbing a drink and dancing to the music and in the water and just having a really lovely, relaxed and fun family time. The rooms at the Maho Beach are really lovely, and obviously the higher up you go, the better the view you would have, particularly since they installed these lovely glass balconies in, I think it was 2019, 2020 that those glass balconies went in. So the view is almost completely uninterrupted from the bedrooms. So really beautiful, and you get a great view of the airplanes coming in. As you can see, really nicely appointed bathrooms, little mini fridge, and coffee making facilities. The mini fridges aren't stocked at Maho, but they are at Ocean Point. And this is a sort of man-made beach that sits up above the famous sort of public beach. So you are exclusive. You don't have to go down to that beach. But you have a lovely sandy environment, and you have the swimming pools as well. And then literally you would walk to the left of this picture and go down some steps, and you're on the public beach and with access to the sea. So it's actually really nice because you've got lots of choices of how you use the hotel and all the facilities. There are several restaurants to choose from at the Maho Beach. The main one is the Ocean Terrace, where you have breakfast, lunch and dinner. It's sort of indoor, outdoor dining, so you can choose between air conditioning and the ocean breezes. The Palms Beach and Grill, I'll show you a little picture of that in a sec, actually. There's the Village Tavern, the Jing's Kitchen are both in the Maho Village, which is literally outside the front door. You go out of the front door of the hotel and you'll find Jing's, the Village Tavern and the casino all outside the front door. So lots to choose from as part of the program, and a feeling that you've actually gone out rather than just staying in the hotel. And then in the lobby there's a cafe where you can get coffees and teas and pastries all day, and a pizzeria as well for lunch out on the terrace here. There you go, there's another picture of sort of the view from the Ocean Terrace looking along the beach and across to the resort. So lovely views from the Ocean Terrace. And then the Palms Grill is open at lunchtime for burgers, sandwiches, typical lunch fare. And then in the evenings they have this fantastic lava rock cooking, where that's actually a lava stone on the left, and it comes sizzling hot, and you can cook your steak or your chicken or your fish to your liking, and it's a bit of a fun feature, sort of sociable eating, and adds a little extra bit of interest to the evening. There's also the Serenity Spa at Maho, really lovely facility with indoor and outdoor massages on offer. And then we'll move on to the Sonesta Ocean Point. So this is 5-star, all suite, adults only, all inclusive. And I think that's something that perhaps people haven't really realised, that it is a 5-star adults only, and that once you're in the Ocean Point, it is exclusive to you as its guests, and they are all suites. So it's a really special place, and it's high up on the cliff. Again, perspective of this photo doesn't really show it, but it is quite elevated up above the sea with the most fantastic views. 130 suites, several different varieties, and the higher categories have butler service. So we'll take a little look at those in a bit more detail. So this is a junior suite. This would be the entry level. So basic level is the junior suite, with the balcony, looking out to sea, really beautiful room. And then, as you can see, below those junior suites, you would find these junior swim up suites. So I think there's 9 of those. So they're highly in demand, which I'm sure you can understand why. But they sell out very, very quickly. So those are really very popular as a room category. And then you've got deluxe rooms in the junior and 1-bedroom suite category, all beautifully appointed, all with lovely views. And then right up to the top, the sort of butler suites, and this particular one is the rooftop penthouse suite, which is one of the categories that comes with the butler service. So really, really lovely, comfortable living space. And this is the newest category, actually. It's the Sunset Swim Out Suite. So these rooms look out onto the edge pool, which I'll show you a bit more of a view of in a moment. And they are one of the higher categories, and they come with this butler service. So here you are, you've got the edge pool, and you can see those swim out suites over on the, in the build coming out of the building at the top there. You've got the point pool, which is kind of like the main pool belonging to Ocean Point. And then another picture here of the swim out pool, which is obviously accessible from those junior suites. And then you can go and use the Oasis at Maho if you want. If you want to meet up with friends, then you can go down there as well if you're a guest at the Ocean Point. A few choices of places to eat. Again, when you're at Ocean Point, you can go and eat at the other places at Maho, but these restaurants are exclusive to Ocean Point, and you've got the beautiful Italian restaurant Portofino with those stunning views out to sea, and then you've got the Azul restaurant, which edges onto the edge pool. Just looks fabulous with this nighttime view. So really, just to reiterate the message that you can, if you're a guest at Sonesta Ocean Point, you really can stay at 1 and play at 2, but it's not the other way around. So at Maho, if you're staying at Maho, then you can't access the facilities at Ocean Point. So how to book? Well, we're all here because of Hummingbird. So, and they are a recent partner of ours, and we're really looking forward to working with Hummingbird and seeing your bookings coming through. If you do a booking, you can log your booking on mymahorewards.com, and that actually it does give you access to my Ocean Point rewards, and that's €20 or £20 for. Sorry, £15 for a Maho booking and €30 or £25 for an Ocean Point bookings. You just log those bookings, and it doesn't matter if you've made them through Hummingbird. You just tell us you've made the booking, and once the client has travelled, you'll get your reward through the My Booking Rewards platform. And we also do offer some agent rates if you're interested in going and visiting yourself. So these you'd have to well, either go onto my rewards program or get in touch with me, and we can send you this information. And obviously this will get updated for 2025. So that actually concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much, Nadine. That was great. Yeah, really, really good to see the property. It's huge, lots of facilities. Really nice. It's not one that I had heard of before, like joining here. So yeah, I definitely hope that one of the team will be out there soon. We do
I hope so too.
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions.
Oh, good, excellent.
So someone has asked if either of the resorts have any closing date. Do you close at all at any time in the year?
Not at the moment. There's nothing planned at the moment.
Brilliant. So people can go whenever they like, which is
yes,
great.
absolutely, absolutely.
And what is a typical length of stay in each property? Like how long do people tend to stay for?
Well, I've been watching some of the bookings just lately, and it's generally about 9 nights actually. because it is, it is a long way to go, and unless you're lucky enough to live within, quick driving distance of Amsterdam or Paris airports, yeah, it is quite a journey to take. So I think the longer stay is important, and give yourself the chance to explore the island, and perhaps go on some of those excursions to visit some of the other islands, which would really be quite, it'd feel quite exotic to be able to tell people that you'd visited all these different islands belonging to different countries, all in one go.
Yeah, definitely. And which is the most common twin centre, do you find? Which of Ireland?
Yeah, I think that the island hopping, particularly with St Eustatius and St Bart's, that's very, very popular. And so St Eustatius is is a Dutch island, and St Bart's is a French island. So sort of there's this link, historical link between them. But as I said earlier, you can get to Anguilla super easily. You can just go on a quick day trip, and on a boat, and just land in Anguilla within an hour or so. So it's really interesting. And there are other islands you can get to from there, like St Kitts, Antigua, Dominica. There are flights out of St Maarten to a lot of different islands with
Very well
various
connected.
lines. Yeah, very, very well connected. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you everyone else for joining us. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your Wednesdays.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.